Right guys, so a couple of essential tips now for shoulder health and particularly in the swimming population. A few essential tips that you need to do, and we start off with range of movement, because if you don't have enough range of movement in certain areas, you're not going to be able to get your arm overhead, be it on a front crawl or a backstroke. Is that all right? So first thing first, when you're standing or sitting, we want to check your external rotation, okay? So be it in standing or sitting, you're going to check this movement out to the side, and you should have plenty of it, and there should not be a discrepancy between sides. So that's your first check, okay? Another important one is internal rotation, so the hand in behind the back, and see how far you can get the hand to scratch up the back, okay? And this is now without having to lean forward or without your shoulder blade having to twist forward like that. So check your internal rotations to make sure they're nice and clean, okay? Because it's a simple way we approach your shoulder. If you don't have the range in a low zone, you're always going to have some sort of compensation, particularly in a higher zone. Is that okay? Because the limitation down here will be magnified or amplified up high, particularly as you go overhead and you bring your arm into the water, okay? So check those ranges in the low zone first, and then we can check our shoulder flexion. So you're lifting up like this, up and down. And you can do it in standing as well, or sorry, kneeling as well, up and down. So the arm should go straight up over the top without any limitation or extra hitching movements. Is that all right? Should be nice and clean. Nice shoulder flexion. You can try bringing it around, mimicking a front crawl position like that, and seeing what that feels like for you as well, because that's mimicking the movement, and you'll see what that movement looks like in front of a mirror. Are you shifting and doing this movement? So if you're doing that on land, you're definitely going to do it in the water to a certain extent, and that's going to affect the efficiency of your swim. So that's some essential tips for shoulder mobility and range of movement. Next thing, we want to make sure spinal mobility, so your mid-back. If you do not have enough extension of the mid-back, so this backward leaning action, you're going to be compromised, okay? So I'm going to exaggerate. If I'm stuck into flexion like this and I bring my arm up, that's all I can actually lift it. I can't lift my arm further up because I don't have extension from my mid-back, okay? So that's going to massively hamper your ability to swim properly as well, so particularly an overarm. It won't really affect you on the breaststroke as much, okay? So check your extension. In a kneeling position, hands behind the head, lift up like this, okay? Or seated somewhere in a chair, so the hips and everything stays still, and you're looking up and down, checking your extension, okay? If you have a stiff or a limitation in that extension, we would do some rolling, foam rolling extensions. Be careful with this one. I'll just demonstrate it gently. You could also do it in a low back chair and put the low back of the chair here, for example, and lean backwards over that. We would consider that a level 1 activity, whereas this is a level 2 activity, where you're putting the roller at the blade's level approximately. Support your head, your bum is on the floor, and you're leaning back over the roller, okay? Leaning backwards over the roller. So you can see that movement there from the side. It'll look like this. Leaning back over, exhaling as you do. You can also deviate to one angle at a 45-degree angle that way, and to the other side to see if there's a difference between sides, okay? And with this exercise, you know, you can rock side to side to see what the ribs are like, to make sure those ribs are mobile too, because they can get a bit stuck and stiff, you know, particularly for whatever reasons. If you're taking a fall, they might stiffen up, they might just get a little bit sticky and stiff, so you need to mobilize them and get them freed up, okay? So I would do this for like maybe a minute or 2 minutes maximum at different levels throughout the spine to free up your back mobility. And then by all means check your shoulder range after, see does it feel freer. So that's the second tip. Third tip then is a modified child's pose that we like to use, and I'll show you 2 different versions of that. The first version is using a bench or a chair or a table or something like that, and you're in this position and you drop down into this movement like this, okay? All the time I want you to have a good pressure on your hands. So you got a good pressure down into the bed or the bench or whatever you're pressing in. Exhaling down, and you can get used to being down here. And simple tips, we want to incorporate breathing here, okay? So we're mimicking the breathing style. Looking left, looking right, looking left, looking right, okay? You can do a couple of repetitions of the breathing while in this outstretched position. Getting a nice stretch on the lat, also strengthening the lat to be able to hold tension here. That's very important. Next thing we can do here is in that position, you can actually do the stroke, okay? So you can go for your stroke here, like that, while holding tension, right? And you can do your front crawl, practicing away, and you're making sure that you're not dropping in the middle, so you're not bowing here. You're still keeping a bit of tension in the lower tummy area on your front core, okay? If you don't like that one, then another option is to do it in the child's pose position, literally this way. Okay, so really drop down in between the knees, and you can work away. Front crawl here. Do your front crawl. You can do your breathing work in that position, okay? And they're very, very simple exercises to do. Fantastic to free up the shoulder, the mid-back, incorporating the neck into your stroke, and very, very valuable for anyone who's an avid swimmer. So give it a go. Let us know how you get on, and please ping us if you have any queries and specifics that you can't fix yourself, okay? So we look forward to hearing from you. Share it with some buddies if you found it useful. We'll see you the next time. Cheers.